Hi, this is Socia Ruiz with my informative speech for COM 101. This is my audience. Okay, thank you. And here are my note cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, thank you. According to the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration from the U.S. Department of Transportation, over 6 million car crashes were reported in 2018, and almost 2 million of those resulted in injuries. Regrettably, over 33,000 of those resulted in death. The state of Nevada requires that any passenger vehicle, pickup truck, or even commercial vehicle be properly insured before being allowed to operate in our public roads and highways. That's why it's important to understand the components of the insurance policy, which include first-party coverages, liability, additional coverages, and exclusions. I've been in the insurance industry for well over 20 years, and over 15 of those years I've managed claims from property damage to investigation of liability as well as injury claims. I'm currently a licensed independent adjuster for the state of Nevada and investigate claims for a living. Okay, so let's talk first of all about what is an insurance policy. We'll discuss also what those first party coverages are. Again, liability and the two components of it. Lastly, we'll discuss additional coverages and exclusions. So an insurance policy is essentially a contract between you and your insurance company where you're telling them what coverages you need for how much, and they agree to give you those coverages in exchange for a premium or your monthly payments. Even with the information that I give you today, I can't stress this enough that it doesn't take the place that should you have a need or should you be going through a claim, always discuss the information with your insurance professional, but it does help to have a little bit of an idea of what you're discussing. So first party coverages essentially mean you and yours. You, the owner of the policy, the owner of the car, and the people that are inside your car. First party, one of those coverages is collision. And collision literally means just that. Your vehicle has collided into something or something has collided into it. Okay, that's exactly what collision means. It doesn't have anything to do with the severity of the incident. It's just identifying what happened to the car. Some examples of collision include running over a fixed object, crashing into a tree, a car, even a loss or an accident with a pedestrian is also considered a collision. Flipping over a car or rollover is actually also considered a collision. The other coverage is comprehensive, and most policies will say something vague like anything other than collision is comprehensive, and it really is. Some examples of a comprehensive claim mean the vandalism, which is the malicious damage of your property, the theft of your entire car, acts of nature. So if your car is damaged, for example, in a storm, a mudslide, an earthquake, and it also means, besides the theft of your car, it also means like a falling object. For example, a tree branch, it could be a rock, or even a baseball through your windshield. Another coverage that is afforded as a first party coverage is rental or loss of use, and that's pretty self-explanatory. If the coverage is available, if you chose to purchase that coverage, then it's available to you. If your car is unavailable to you during the time that your vehicle is not available. So if it's being repaired, it's typically available for the limit of your policy, and it's for the time that your car is not available to you. Another coverage that is available as a first party coverage is medical payments, although it's generally found in a different part of the policy, but it's medical payments or MedPay, and that is for medical treatment that you incur for an injury that you've sustained as a result of an accident that is being covered by your insurance company. This is a coverage that's also subject to a limit. And in this particular case, it's also subject to a time limit that usually begins on the date of the accident. You should check with your insurance company to see when that limit would expire. And let's talk a little bit about what your deductible is. Your deductible, to put it easy, always applies. Whether the loss was your fault or not, whether it was a comprehensive or collision, your deductible is always going to apply. There are instances where your insurance company may try to help you recover that amount if the accident was not your fault. But I would say don't come in with that expectation. Expect to always pay your deductible. This is what you agree to pay to repair your car if it's damaged. Okay, let's go into liability. So if first party coverages are you and your, then liability are the other people. If you cause damage or injury to someone else, this is liability. The first component of liability is property damage, and it means just that. You've damaged someone else's property. It could be their car, it could be their mailbox, it could be their fence. The money to pay for that other person's property comes out of property damage coverage. The state of Nevada requires that you carry a minimum protection of $20,000. You can always increase your limit, but the state says that you can't carry less. The second component of liability is bodily injury coverage. So if you've hit someone, a car, and that person, the driver, let's say, is injured, then they have the right to come back to your policy and say, I'm injured and I need you to cover my medical treatment, and I also need you to compensate me for having been injured in this accident. The money to pay for that person's injuries comes out of the bodily injury coverage. And the state of Nevada says that you cannot carry less than $25,000 per person for injuries or less than $50,000 per accident for injuries. So again, you can always increase the coverage, but you can't carry less. If you're involved in an accident where you're injured, but the other person does not have insurance, this coverage under additional coverages is under uninsured bodily injury coverage, which means that you can come back to your own policy for that injury component. Say the other person that causes the accident did have insurance, but if your injury was very severe and they just didn't have enough coverage, then you also have underinsured motorist bodily injury coverage, which also means that you can go back to your own policy for that benefit. This is a very special coverage, so it's definitely something that if you're involved in that instance, then you want to discuss it with your insurance company because it is a specialty type of coverage. Other policies carry auto death benefit, and it means just that if you perish as a result of an auto accident that's covered by your insurance company, then your beneficiaries or surviving beneficiaries then can receive this payment as an auto death benefit. There's also coverages for towing and all that, but those are specialty coverages. And again, these are coverages that you can discuss with your insurance company. Exclusions is a section of the policy where you can find if certain circumstances are straight not covered by your policy. If you're just driving your car, a leisurely drive, nothing special about it, and it's your car that you insure, then you shouldn't run into any issues. But if you're driving your friend's brother, sister's car, then your insurance company has a right to investigate. In the last 4 years, insurance company payments for claims has increased almost $20 million, upwards of $96 million. So I'll just leave you with this thought. What if you are involved in an accident? What if you're injured? What if somebody in your car is injured? Do you have enough protection for the people in your car and for the other people on the road? I would urge you to look at your insurance policy and make sure that you do have enough coverage. The last thing you want to be is stranded on the side of the road and having to worry if your insurance company is going to help you or not. I hope that the information that I've given you today is useful, that you find it informative. And thank you so much for your time.